Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents at Squee continue all the way to episode 103 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Guys, I went to a convention and I didn't buy anything. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going to the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere. This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
We are back to our regular format for this week. It's been very wonky for us for like the last week or so, or last month, I think.
Last month we've had interviews and vacations and
Fandom Christmas and
Fandom Christmas, but yeah, now we're kind of getting back to normal a little bit.
Yeah, well, as normal as we can be for us, I guess.
Well, normal is as does.
Yep.
Forest.
Yeah. So, but that does mean we have news. Yay!
Yes, there is
Most of
news.
it is convention related because, as we, reiterated last week, convention season is not really slowing down, depending on where you live. And even though it's slowing down for some of us, well, that doesn't mean we can't start planning for next year, potentially. So Planet Comic-Con has already announced their dates for next year. It is going to be April 28th through the 30th. So that is a somewhat home-based con for the fellas over at Traveling the Vortex. So at least one of them will go for part of the convention and give their report. So
It seems like they volunteer a lot.
Yeah.
There too, and they've had panels. They've done panels there, so it's sort of their annual thing they do, which is cool.
Yeah, very cool. They've got to do some really cool things by being there. So Kansas, it's not just tornadoes and Wizard of Oz.
Well, Kansas City's Missouri, but yes, I get your point.
Yeah, it's that area.
Yeah.
That area of the Midwest-ish plains area.
Well, so if you're in the Kansas City area and you can make it, mark your calendars.
Yep.
And speaking of conventions, Rachel said that convention season's winding down for some. For some of us, it's just getting ramped up, and you can't see it, but I'm pointing to myself. So, Comic-Con is this week. And I have a funny story. So the last time we did a news segment, and we talked about, we had our normal format. I said that we really hadn't had a whole lot of guests announced, like big name guests, so to speak. And then that week is when they announced people like Mark Hamill coming to Salt Lake Comic-Con, and Stephen Amell, and David Ramsey. Stephen Amell and David Ramsey, both, if you don't know, they are both in Arrow. Stephen Amell plays Oliver Queen. David Ramsey is
Diggle!
John Diggle. Yay! So they're gonna do a whole big Arrow thing, and I'm so psyched because Stephen Amell came to Fan X not this past year, not the year before that, and I missed him. Or I think at that time I really wasn't into Arrow, so I didn't know who he was. Then I got into Arrow, found out who he was, and I was mad because I was like, he was here and I'd missed seeing him. So this time we're going. But back to Mark Hamill, for those of you who may not recognize the name, first off, what? Second off, he's...
Well, I laugh. I was like, well, there's probably people like my mother who probably wouldn't know Mark Hamill by name.
Oh, okay.
They know Luke Skywalker, but they would not know the actor's
he's
name.
Luke Skywalker, and he also had a small voice role as the Joker in the Batman animated series.
Just a little.
Just a little. It's
And a few video,
little thing between jobs that he did,
and a few video games as well. But
Yeah, video games, and he's been in. He also did the voice for the Fire Lord in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that's a pretty cool role. But anyway, the big news about Mark Hamill, other than the fact that this is his only United States convention, he is going to Canada Fan Expo. Like Mitch will be going. I don't know if she's going to go see Mark Hamill. I wish she was here to say, but. So they finagled away because everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's only going to be here the Thursday. Everybody wants to go to his panel. You know, how are we going to fit everybody in the ballroom? Well, they're moving his panel to, well, we call it the Delta Center because that was the name it was originally given, but they've changed the name a couple times. The Vivint Smart Home Arena, which is where the Utah Jazz play basketball. And there's other, they do other things. They had the Olympics there. They have concerts and rodeos and like Disney on Ice, all that kind of stuff. It's a big arena. Seats 20,000 people, and Salt Lake Comic-Con got it for Mark Hamill's panel on Thursday morning. And they're also having William Shatner's panel immediately after Mark Hamill in the same building. So, So yeah, so usually on the Thursday of Salt Lake Comic-Con, the con doesn't open until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Everybody's going to be down there Thursday morning for Mark Hamill and William Shatner. And
I'm
I mean,
sure
they're
the
not.
line is probably starting right now as we speak.
They actually
in.
had to say on their website and Facebook page, no one is allowed to line up until 6 in the morning on Thursday.
Okay, good.
So
on
they're
that.
not letting anybody line up early, but they're all like, you're all going to get in, you're all going to get a seat. If you want to go, all you need is a wristband or a VIP pass or something for Comic-Con. So everybody who wants to see Mark Hamill and or William Shatner, they will get a chance to. You may be up in the nosebleeds in the arena, but you'll be there.
You'll be breathing the same air as Mark Hamill.
In a roundabout sort of way. I do know that there is not going to be a Q&A for the Mark Hamill panel. I don't know about Shatner, but Hamill, I guess he's kind of got this. He's got a thing he's going to do, and then they said if you have a photo op with Mark Hamill, you will still get to do that. That they're not doing that till after the William Shatner panel, so you'll still be able to do that. They did this whole big thing. They're only doing a limited number of autographs. They're all going to be going to get to go up and say, here, could you sign my Luke Skywalker action figure. It's, but still, he doesn't do a lot of conventions, and apparently something about Salt Lake impressed him, so he's coming here, and I'm not going to question it. So it's exciting. So hence why I'm rambling. But yeah, I had to look up on the FAQ list, because when they first announced him, I was like, oh man, I'm not going to get to see him at all, because like the fan package they were offering to see him, it was like front row seats, photo op, and an autograph, and it was like $375 just for an autograph was $200, and I was like, yeah, not happening. So I just sort of wrote it off as I wasn't gonna do it. But I don't know. Of course, I haven't really looked into it too much, but I don't know how many other conventions can do this. Like go to another, book 2 venues for something like this.
I guess as long as the venue's available.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of this happening, but I'm not saying it never has, just because I haven't heard of it. But it's just kind of like, it's kind of cool. Yeah. And the arena it's just a few blocks from the convention center, so it's all good. So yay! We were working on our cosplays, doing the finishing touches, and I've already said that. Whatever pictures we get, we're going to take pictures of ourselves in our cosplay sets going on our Christmas card.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So anyway, yay, Salt Lake Comic-Con. If you are in the Salt Lake area and you're going to be going to Comic-Con, I will be there all 3 days, cosplaying all 3 days. The first day, I guess I'll say ahead what we're going to do. Jared and I are going to dress up as the Doctor and Missy. I'm the Doctor, he's
cool.
Missy.
Nice.
Nice.
We had this idea back in
when we did.
Oh yeah, hopefully it turned out. Dyeing my hair is going to be interesting. Yeah, it was it was this kind of idea because we did the Fifth Doctor, and the Master for FanX, and we were on our way to the convention first day, and he's like, I want to do Missy. And I was like, we're on our way. What are you talking about? No, for next time. And I was like, Okay. And then on Friday, we're doing kind of a group, or I guess a double date cosplay with my brother-in-law and his wife. They're gonna be so Jared's going to be evil Harry Dresden. I'm going to be his assistant in like that parallel universe, and then my brother-in-law is going to be good Harry Dresden, and his wife's going to be his assistant in the normal universe. I don't know much about the Dresden Files, but I'm like, cool.
I'm rereading the series. I kind of got halfway through, like, all the way through halfway, book 4, and I'm kind of going back and rereading, so I'm not sure which assistant, but I remember.
Okay, I think her name's the one I'm dressing up as is Molly. I can't remember her last name, but she's like Carpenter. Jared just yelled out from the other room. But she's a kind of punk goth sort of look, and she has dyed hair, like every color you can imagine. So I'm doing my hair pink.
Name's kind of ringing a bell now.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you know, because I've started reading and I haven't gotten very far just because I get distracted by other things. But I'm working on it. And then Saturday,
FYI,
yes,
audiobooks are awesome and narrated by James Marsters, aka
So
Spike.
I think Jared has the audiobooks. I just need to download them to my computer and onto my phone so I can do it.
I just thought I'd pass that along.
That might actually be a good idea, because audiobooks are kind of my thing lately. So I will go take care of that when we're done podcasting. Anyway, and then Saturday, if you're familiar with, now I have to think of what it's called now. It's a Star Wars video game from Dark Forces. Star Wars Dark Forces. He's eavesdropping. He says hello.
Hi.
They say hello back. Okay, so we're cosplaying. He's Kyle Katarling, and I'm going to be Janors. It's from the Star Wars universe.
Cool.
So there's our cosplay.
I know one set out of those 3, but I look forward to seeing the pictures.
Okay, so he just said that Dark Forces was how the story of how they stole the Death Star plans in a video game format. So with Rogue One being about them stealing the Death Star plans, we're kind of thinking that, or Jared's kind of thinking that Jyn Erso is sort of a mix of Jan Ors and maybe some other characters. So that's kind of what spurred this on. We will find out, obviously, in the movie.
Yep.
But anyway, so those are our cosplays. I've taken way too much time talking about it, but
fine.
Yay, Comic-Con! I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
And talking about it makes me feel, I kind of had a blah day today, so talking about Comic-Con makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, and for any of our listeners who may be there, now they know who to look for, I guess.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I will have business cards, and I'm going to try to talk to them on the podcast, and I might talk to some people at some booths and maybe get some short little interviews, possibly. I don't know.
Awesome.
We'll see how things go.
Yeah. You just
I'm
never
not
know.
promising anything. I'm just saying.
You'll be prepared just in case.
Yes.
Awesome. Very cool.
Anyway, next on the news list, someone else go for it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Missy, Missy is going to be at Chicago TARDIS. Michelle Gomez will be there Friday and Saturday of the convention, and now I'm kind of mad I'm not going. Because from what I've heard, Michelle Gomez is a hoot at conventions, so she would be lots of fun to see. So anyway, I just had to burn through all that vacation time this year, didn't I?
I know, you need to save some for the end of the year.
I know.
You never know when you're
really
gonna need it.
Really with Chicago TARDIS, you kind of need to commit to go even before they start announcing people. Like, as soon as stuff goes on sale, you kind of have to commit to go.
Yeah, it's like Galley in that way.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sell out like Galley does. Mm-hmm. Usually, like, the VIPs will sell out early. But just a regular, single day or 3-day pass, you can buy right up until, close to the con. But, with the guest announcements, depending on the the hierarchy of the guest, having VIP may work in your favor, and I think in this case it probably would. So
Yeah, I bet you it does.
yeah, that guarantees you get seats right up front for all the big panel room they use. It's quite large, so if you're towards the back, I mean, you can see who the person is, but it's not nearly as fun as sitting up close and going, "Oh, that's Alex Kingston," or "Oh, that's whoever." So I will get back to Chicago TARDIS eventually. I just have to. I have to plan well enough in advance because it is the weekend of Thanksgiving, and when you have family, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, we can do Thanksgiving lunch, maybe dinner, but I have to leave right after that so I can get to Chicago for this event.
And they're all like, "Why did you plan this over Thanksgiving? What are you doing?
Why are you not here spending time with your family?" Like, 'cause it's Missy. That's why. And they're gonna be like, "Who?" So yeah. Darn you, Chicago TARDIS, interrupting family time. Oh well. First world problems.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho's, also in Doctor Who news, we are finally going to get probably our first proper glimpse. Obviously, if you pay attention to the interwebs, there have been photos on, taken on set while Series 10 is being filmed. But we will probably get our first proper look at this year's Christmas special and potentially Series 10 at New York Comic-Con, because as we know, there was no Doctor Who panel of any sort at San Diego, but New York Comic-Con's kind of the East Coast version of San Diego, and there will be Doctor Who. There's going to be a panel for Doctor Who series proper, obviously with Peter Capaldi and the new companion Pearl Mackie and Stephen Moffat, and executive producer Brian Minchin, and they have been promised a sneak peek of upcoming stories, including this year's Christmas special. And then there will also be a panel for the Doctor Who spinoff Class. So that they will bring in all the stars for that, along with Brian Minchin again, because apparently he's going to be executive producer for both. So that is October 6th through 9th. So if you're in the New York area and can go, you'll get to see Peter Capaldi and the new companion and Stephen Moffat.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And Mitch is finally here.
Yay! Hello.
We're still working our way through news. You haven't missed much.
Another board problem.
There she is.
Hey.
Her voice is working.
Well, I joined the call and said I was here, and then my puppy scratched at the door wanting to say hi.
Oh.
Hello, puppy.
Hi, puppy. Hey, puppy. And then our last bit of news is just kind of a fun little throwback thing for nostalgia for a lot of people, myself included, because I grew up watching TV Land. So I grew up with a lot of the TV shows from the 60s, Get Smart, I Dream of Jeannie, all that, Dragnet. So that includes the 60s Batman TV series. But they are releasing a new animated, direct-to-DVD, I guess, movie.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers Animation, and
Yeah.
there's a trailer, and I watched it, and at first I thought, okay, this has got to be a fan-made thing, but no,
Nope.
it's legit, it's real, and
Yeah.
it's
It's
official.
awesome!
Not that fan-made stuff isn't legit, but you know what I mean. And it's Burt Ward and Adam West, and they are playing Batman
and Robin.
and they have Julie Newmar as Catwoman.
As she should be.
Yeah. And And I'm just like, okay, this is a thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's essentially the 60s TV series in animated form, complete with the,
Pow.
the pow
Yeah,
and the,
I love
the and the crazy music and the sounds and the, Batman and Robin saying, grown one-liners. You're like, really?
Holy.
Yeah. It's like, holy
Holy
hole in the
whatever,
donut, Batman. It's everything that the original TV series was, but in animated form, and it is fabulous. And I watched the trailer, and it immediately took me back to my childhood watching reruns on my papa's TV because he had cable, and the reruns would be on TV Land, and I'd be sitting there watching, going, "This is awesome."
And for those of you who have never seen it, please try to find some way to do it. It is awesome.
Yeah. It showed up on like some, local access channel up in my in-laws when we were up visiting several months ago, and Chauncey had never seen it before, and he was just looking at it and like he could not believe what he was seeing, the camp.
Well, I think before Nick at Night had it, or maybe it was after the old Family Channel, which was ABC, now I think became ABC Family, and now it's Freeform. They would air the Batman stuff, and that's how I used to watch it.
There was a channel on Direct TV. I can't remember how long ago it was. But it wasn't that long ago. It was just a few years that had it, and it was one of those, where did this, in the family, but next to, Disney Channel and Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, in the family package. And it's just kind of like, where the heck did this come from? And they aired it. And my sister, it was, only 10 years younger than me, she loved it. And she was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'd never seen it before. So I sat down and started watching it. And I'm like, holy cow, this is so cheesy, but it's so awesome.
The Joker and the Penguin, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So here's the thing. If you, if Killing Joke was a little too much for you, which I can imagine that being a thing, watch this one.
Yep. So, and you will be able to get it both on Batman: The Return of the Caped Crusader is what it's called. It'll be available in digital HD on October 11th and a Blu-ray combo pack in November. So if you want to add that to your Blu-ray collection, you can pick that up in a couple of months. But yeah, I mean, if you were a fan of the original TV series, this is probably something you want to add to your collection. So. Yeah. I was saying to someone the other day, because I finally went and saw Suicide Squad, and when I was, talking about how Jared Leto's Joker really isn't in the movie a whole lot. He's not really a major player as far as the plot goes. Sorry. But, it's like, his Joker, his portrayal of the Joker isn't bad, but my first Joker was Cesar Romero, so...
Yeah.
Well,
when you got Cesar Romero as the starting point for Jokers, that's kind of a bar that's maybe difficult for some people to reach.
Rachel, I hear you. Mine was Cesar Romero, followed closely by Jack Nicholson.
Exactly.
So, there you have it.
Yeah. So
exactly.
So if you're a DC fan and you're a little bit, you're not a fan of how dark it's going. This will be a nice little throwback.
Yeah.
Remembering of the original Batman.
Yeah.
It's fun. Comic book fans are allowed to have fun. I know they have a really hard time with this lately, with everything having to be so super heavy and dark, and not even in the movies, like even in the comics, they have to tackle all these really heavy issues. And I'm like, let's just let's have a time when, superheroes socked literally bad guys in the face.
Yep.
And to paraphrase Heath Ledger's Joker, why so serious?
Exactly.
No kidding.
Exactly. Fabuloso. So that's about it for proper news. Obviously, we're getting towards the end of the month here, so a little bit of housekeeping. So we've got next month's photo challenge ready to go, Brittany?
Yep, which, in honor of the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, I'm doing the favorites of Star Trek, which you can use any of the series that you want, because, I don't know. And it's similar to, like, other favorite things, so, I don't know.
So, original series, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, any of the movies, probably the animated series. I'm just trying to think what else there is. The books, there were books,
Comics
as well. So if it's Star Trek, then go for it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And the last bit of housekeeping, the poll for the Doctor Who book club for Traveling the Vortex has a few days left. As of right now, our choices are the Grandfather Infestation, In the Blood, the Legends of Ever Song, and the Scream of the Shalka. And the Grandfather Infestation, which is a Lethbridge Stewart book, is in the lead with 5 votes. In the Blood is 2 votes. The Legend of Ever Song and Scream of the Shalka don't have any votes, so you still have a few more days to cast your ballot, and we will go from there.
Yuppers.
Yeah, I have read 3 of the 4 books, and they are good.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering, they're the Grandfather Infestation, the Legend of Ever Song, and In the Blood.
So take Holly's opinion.
And Holly has good taste in books,
Yes.
so you can trust her.
Yes.
Thank
the
you.
fact that she just gave thumbs up for 3 of the choices that doesn't really help if somebody was struggling to pick.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to
They're
let
just
you know,
like,
there
"Thanks a lot."
are 2 persuasion comments on the Goodreads Book Club on the poll thing, so I will read them. Ben said the Grandfather Infestation is awesome. For those who have yet to read it, vote for this one. You won't be disappointed. And then Thomas has put in his word for In the Blood. He said it's a great read. It's a sort of sequel to the second of the Big Finish 10th Doctor's audios. So if you've read those and enjoyed those, that might make you decide for your vote. Even though it came out about a week beforehand, be careful with it if you have any form of technophobia. And yeah, he's
I
right.
know which one's talking about.
Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Alrighty. Closing out August and quickly working our way into September. Lordy. Where's the year gone?
Yep.
Anyway.
September is like,
I know.
September's my favorite month. I love it. September, October, this is my jam. So, as the kids say on the internet.
But now we're getting into
Yep.
But the thing for me is, and it's, because I'm a nerd and a geek, but I'm also a sports fan. But we start getting into this time of year, and I have weekends where there will be a football game. The Colts will be playing at the exact same time there's a NASCAR race.
Yep.
So I got to figure out how to split my attention between the two.
Hey, if you go to, if people at Buffalo Wild Wings can do it.
Well, that's what I like. I need a setup like Buffalo Wild Wings. I need like multiple TVs and someone to bring me, unlimited wings and beer, and I'd be golden.
No, I saw the best one I saw this week was it's a picture of it's a meme of Captain Picard, and he's like really looking excited about something, and he says, and the caption is, "It's time to stop hating each other over politics and race, and start hating each other over something that actually matters, football."
Yeah.
I was like, it's like, I'm sharing that one, thank you.
Preseason's not quite over yet. Until regular season starts, I kind of sit on the in the back. So because the preseason doesn't mean much.
Yeah, it's just getting the bugs out and getting people excited.
You don't win championships in the preseason, so
no, you don't. But it's still a nice little sign of it's coming. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on to this week's topic. Actually, I have two things to talk about. First, I will actually shortly just touch on the one thing that happened to me over the weekend that I was not planning on. Unlike today, where I was planning on going to the Indiana Toy Comic Expo, yesterday I ended up spending the entire day at Who North America. I'd gone Friday evening because I volunteered to help plan their fall festival. They're going to be hosting a Halloween/fall festival at the shop in late October. Details to be announced later. Obviously, I will post those on the Facebook page because we love supporting the folks over at Who North America. But they had mentioned that they were going to be doing a intro to the Doctor Who role-playing game on Saturday. And I was like, okay. They're like, you should come. We need more people to play. I'm like, okay. Obviously, I went to Gen Con, but as I stated, I am not a gamer. I've never played any sort of RPG or this type of tabletop game before in my entire life. So I had no idea what I was in for and what I was going to be doing. That being said, I had a blast.
Yay!
So the Tom, who is one of the employees there at Who North America, who does a really good War Doctor cosplay, totally unrelated, kind of. But he actually, we played I don't know if you can call it a campaign, because it's not like D&D where you do like campaigns. There's stories, so it's more like Doctor Who, where it's like an episode of the TV show. So in this case, we were actually playing a unpublished story that he wrote for Cubicle 7, who are the folks that I guess published the Doctor Who RPG, among others. So he's actually writing stories for several of the Cubicle 7 games, including the Doctor Who RPG. But this one is not actually officially published yet. So eventually it will be. So those of you that happen to play the game, it will be available to you at some point. I don't know when. But
I am intrigued by this.
Yeah. But he did a nice session where he just kind of explained how the game works, and what, in this case, how this specific RPG works, and how RPGs work in general for those of us that have never played anything ever. And then we broke for lunch, and then we started the game after lunch, and I think our gameplay ended up being like 4.5 hours. Okay. I think once we actually started playing, if you included creating our characters, probably 5 hours.
Character creation takes a while.
Yeah, well, in this case, he actually gave us some pre-generated characters, generic characters. Nice. So that took a lot of the work off us on figuring out how to distribute, the points, like, how strong is my character going to be and how intelligent and that sort of thing. He's like, what kind of character do you think you want to play? And he gave us, a pre-generated character. So we could still come up with like a name and backstory, or in some cases he came up with the backstory, because we ended up with me playing a Torchwood operative, one of the guys playing a scientist. A guy came in who actually he'd already created his own character, and had been playing with it, but his character was actually an alien from another planet. And then the gal was a musician which threw Tom for a loop as our game master, trying to figure out how is a musician going to fit into this story. Because the whole piece at Alistair Lethbridge Stewart's estate. It's like, how does... So they have, like, Unit and Torchwood and a musician.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say, like...
Maybe some alien tech instrument?
Yeah.
That could be,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, with character creation in RPGs, like, I'm still way new to all this. I'm still getting my feet under me with role playing games. But honestly, my favorite part of the whole thing is creating the character and coming up with a backstory and all that stuff. Because I'm like, I could do that the whole session and just be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not so much my fellow players, because they actually want to get in and
play.
Shoot things and play. But I just want to look through the book and make different characters and what kind of combinations can I come up with. So
but we got into it. I mean, it took a little bit for those of us that didn't really know what we were doing, like me, to get our feelers. I mean, he explained a lot of stuff, but I'm one of those people that you could explain it till you're blue in the face, but until I actually do it, it's not really going to make sense. Stuff makes more sense to me in practice.
Yeah.
So once we actually started playing, and then started really getting into our characters, we really got into it. And by the end, we were just, there was fighting and threats of bodily harm, and there was flirting because Captain Jack ended up in the story. Which by the time Captain Jack appeared in this story, and Tom being the game master, he's playing most of the parts that are the non-playable characters. In this case, Jack was a non-playable character. He was just part of the story, and he's trying to do his best John Barrowman. I'm like, we need John Barrowman for this. Can we play this with John Barrowman?
That would be nice.
I don't know how he feels about, tabletop games, but I think he'd really enjoy the role playing. So, but anyway, I actually recorded the entire thing. So I have like 5-6 hours of audio. I took my audio recorder with me and I recorded the whole thing. I don't know. I haven't actually listened to it, so I don't even know how good the audio quality is. Obviously, I don't think anyone wants to listen to the entire thing, but if any of it's salvageable and decent to listen to, I will edit it and cut it way, way down to something more manageable and put that up on our YouTube page. And so if anyone wants to listen to the shenanigans of my first ever RPG experience. So.
Hey, I'd be interested.
Yeah. Well, and Tom hopes that, if he can get it into as a option at Gen Con next year, but he needs GMs. So he's hoping to expose people to it at the shop, and eventually get enough people excited that they want to GM. And then if he gets enough people to GM, then I guess it'll make it more likely that he can get it on the schedule for Gen Con next year. So, but that was interesting.
If I lived in Indy, I would volunteer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having my first round of, Dungeons and Dragons called DMing, Dungeon Mastering, but it's the same thing basically. Yeah. I'm doing that on Wednesday for the first serious time. So probably by then I would have enough experience doing it. Yeah. And this one sounds awesome. I want to get a copy and subject on my D&D group to it.
And it is fun. I mean, I from what I know about like D&D, I think this is a bit more slimmed down as far as what you have to do. Is like your characters and all that. Obviously, there's like points where you can up certain characteristics, but you don't like level up or anything. Like overall, you're just like, you're this character and you have these traits and you can divvy up points, and then there's add-ons that you can add it to. So, but the book is out there and the materials are out there to purchase. And then I guess as stories get created and written by the folks like Tom and other people who are writing stuff for Cubicle 7, that I guess they'll be published and then they'll be available for people to download, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how all that works. So, but if you're into RPGs or have been thinking of getting into RPGs and you're a Doctor Who fan, this is probably a good gateway, because you'll get excited and it'll keep your interest because there are characters that you know and like. So, because it's like, yeah, we were random characters, but, you know, the story takes place at the Lethbridge Stewart estate. So I'm like, yay, the Brigadier, you know, and they bring in other characters that are easily recognizable, like the Doctor and other people. So it's like, yay. So that, I think that makes it made it more enjoyable for me. I think if somebody tried to throw me into like playing D&D, I'd be like, yeah, no, this is not my thing. Doctor Who, yes.
It takes a while.
I can do Doctor Who.
It helps if you have people who are willing to teach a newbie, like the group I'm in. They were when I started coming, they're all like, oh yeah, this is, and it helps that Jared's kind of one of the unofficial. He was DMing at the time too, so yeah. He, you know, but everybody was really, really nice and great. And even now, when I'm just kind of like, I'm still new, and they're like, oh, this is how you do this, but you know, I'm kind of getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this Doctor Who one, I'm like, this one might be a little easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's not all the pieces and stuff either. It's like the book and like the character sheets, and that's really about it. So, I mean, Tom supplied like a generic mat that was laminated that we could draw on with like, you know, dry erase markers. And we were using makeshift like dye. Like, I don't know where, you know, he'd draw out like the layout of the yard and all that. And I'm like, well, where are we? And where am I? And then we just use dye as our place markers. And like, there's a truck. So we'd use like a small box as the truck. So, you know, it's a low entry, I think, as far as accessories you have to buy too that go with it. So you need your imagination and some dice and a pencil.
That's about all you really need.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my unexpected adventure yesterday. It was kind of like Bilbo Baggins there.
Yay, Bilbo.
With unexpected adventure. Surprisingly enough, or surprisingly or hilariously serendipitous, yesterday's episode of My Little Pony Friendship and Magic was all about the My Little Pony world equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons.
Serendipity!
I know! Anyway, moving on to what I was planning on doing this weekend and did do this weekend. If you followed us on the social medias, well, at least on Instagram and Twitter, you saw I posted some pictures from the Indiana Toy and Comic Expo, which was today down in Bloomington. We had Billy on several episodes ago to talk about this event. So I went, got there about 9:30. It started at 9. I was running a little slow this morning. After the long day yesterday, it was a little tough to get out of bed this morning, but I did it. So I got down there about 9:30. It actually really wasn't busy. There was still plenty of parking. I didn't have a problem getting a parking space or anything. There wasn't really a line to get to pay to get in. This event, con, whatever you want to call it, it's small. I mean, it's justifiable that it's only one day and only for what's 9 to 4, so 7 hours long. Just because it is small. Part of that is because it's a newer con. It's only a few years old, so it's still finding its footing. Also, the Monroe County Convention Center is small. The venue is not very large, and there were other events going on. Funny enough, once again, I go to a con, and at the same time, there's some sort of religious event, church event going on at the same venue. I don't know what it is about Indiana, whether it's the Indianapolis Convention Center, which is huge, or the Monroe County Convention Center, which is not huge. There's a geeky convention and some sort of religious / church event going on at the same time.
Well, everyone can do their thing in peace and harmony or something.
Well, I mean, the
I was
groups
trying to be
never.
profound.
I know. I mean, there's never like any conflict or anything. I just find it funny that this keeps happening no matter what con I go to, at least in the state of Indiana. So, whatever. All these convention centers, they've got to utilize every space possible and get as much money out of these people, I guess. But I went, when you walk in on the ground floor is, there's some meeting rooms. There's kind of a lobby area, which is where they set up the family area, which was sponsored by the Game Preserve. So they had the games for the little kids and the families, and the guy doing the free sketches for kids and that sort of thing. And then around the corner is the one little ball conference room where they do the panels and like the cosplay contests and that sort of thing. And then you actually have to go upstairs to like the vendor area. So that's where they have all of the vendors and the artist alley. So I walked the vendor hall, saw some, I saw a lot of the same vendors I saw last year. Just because I think a lot of them are local, like, toy and game shops to the area anyway, so it's just convenient for them. I don't blame them for that. I did see a lot. I saw a lot of Funkos. Not really anything I couldn't live without. Which is mostly because none of the vendors I saw had the Coulson and Lola. If I ran across that, I probably would have bought it. But no one had it, so my wallet was safe there. A lot of comics, a lot of comic vendors. I'm not a comic person, so that's kind of lost on me. I have been on the hunt for a copy of The Amazing Spider-Man issue 700, just because Lou Mongello gets a shout out. He has a cameo in that. He's friends with one of the artists, one of the comic writers. So there's a scene where Jameson, the from the Daily Planet's like getting hounded by like press. And one of them happens to be Lou Mongello. I've seen a picture of like the panel where he's in it. And it's The Amazing Spider-Man 700. There was a vendor that had several copies of different variant covers. But they wanted $20 for it, which I don't know if that's a fair price because I don't know anything about comics. So I was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to drop $20 for a comic for just one page that I'm only interested in. So I may keep searching elsewhere in hopes that I can find it for cheaper. It doesn't have to necessarily be in like super mint condition. It can be used. I don't care. I'm only interested in the one panel on one page. So, if anyone could give me any tips, short of going to like eBay, I guess I could go to eBay. Any tips or tricks on how to get a comic at the best price or how to know what the best price is for something like this, please let me know. Message me on Twitter, Instagram, or post on our Facebook page or something. So anyway, there's one vendor that was selling like geeky, fandom like magnets and buttons, and I almost bought some of those. And I was like, I don't really need those. And it was one of the, like, it was early in the day, and I was like, oh, well, I don't want to buy stuff early on. It's like, I know it's here. I'm going to be here all day. I'll go do the other things, and then if I still feel like I need it closer to the end of the day, I will come buy it. And then I walked to Artist Alley as well. There were two of the artists were ones who were there last year, and we bought stuff from them last year. So I did look through their stuff to see if they had anything new that really caught my eye. They really didn't, but I did let them know that I had purchased from them last year, and we had their pieces hanging up in our home and really enjoyed them. So that's always nice. I know the artists always, even if you don't buy anything from them, if you enjoy their work, let them know, that encouragement is always a good thing for the poor starving artist. Like, you're doing good. I like your stuff. You got a good thing going. Keep it up.
Like, I even bought it last time you were here,
Mm-hmm.
so yay.
Yeah. So I didn't buy anything in Artist Alley either. So my wallet was happy at that point. So then I went and got a seat for the kids' costume contest, which I managed to snag a seat up towards the front. So, which never happens at the larger cons, but a con this size, right up front. So I've got I've already posted photos on our Facebook from what I took today, and you'll see several of the kids and the adults. The kids always adorable. Some of the older kids. For kids, in this case, kids was 12 and under. So the oldest they could be was 12. But those getting up there to closer to the cutoff, if they're really into their character, you can tell, and they really enjoy it, and it's exciting to see the next generation of cosplayers.
I'm flipping through the pictures now. The Transformers kids.
Yes, there were two sets of those because they break up the. Well, in this case, the kids, they broke them up between boys and girls. But there were two sets of Transformers. There was the good guys and the bad guys. I don't know. Is the ambulance a good guy or a bad guy? Is he neutral?
Decepticons.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I know Optimus Prime, he's a good guy. I know Bumblebee's a good guy, but the tank and the ambulance, I don't know if they're good guys or bad guys or not. But yeah, those were kind of cool because they could walk, and then if they got down and laid down on the ground, the box, the shape would come together so they would look like their respective vehicle. So that was kind of cool. And actually, the brothers who were dressed as Lego Batman and Superman won for the boys category.
Aw, cool.
And then the girl who won for the girls category was dressed as Miss Marvel.
Nice.
So, and she was really enjoying herself. By the time the last panel ended, she was out cold. I saw her sitting in one of the chairs, just completely passed out. She'd had a big day, but she was really cool. She was going around giving people fist bumps. She was super excited to be there. So, and she was, really into wearing her costume. When they called her up, she got up there and posed and all that. And of course, the little kids are always, they make you just go, aw. So like the little Supergirl. I didn't get a good non-blurry picture of I think it was a little boy dressed as Pikachu. He was so cute. His parent brought him up to the stage and then tossed a little Pokeball at him. And then carried him back, and the guy emceeing was all like, if that doesn't melt your heart, then there's something seriously wrong with you. You don't have a heart. And then right after that was the adults. The adults, they break up between heroes and villains, and also amateurs and professionals. So in this case, amateurs are people who have never won a cosplay contest before, any sort of award, and then pros are people who have won at contests previously. And then they have heroes and villains for each of those categories. So again, some really good costumes. A lot of them I don't know who they are. If they come from a video game or anime, sorry. Some of them
you can't know everything.
Yeah, I know. I said some of them I've started to recognize just because I've seen enough of that particular cosplay, like the especially like Diva from Overwatch. I've seen her quite a bit, and actually there was a gal entered as Diva from Overwatch, and I saw her at Gen Con, so I recognized her from the previous convention too. And a lot of the anime just goes over my head as well. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but good job. That's kind of my thing with cosplay. I'm like, you know what? I don't know everything, but I can tell when someone's put the effort into their costume, and to that I give you major thumbs up. Even if I don't get your fandom, you get thumbs up for me. So there's that. I don't know if that warm fuzzies, I guess.
Hey, they appreciate when someone notices the work and the effort. I mean, it's nice for people to say, oh, you're the Doctor or whatever other character that you want to think of. But then it's like, it's nice when people say, wow, that must have given you, you put a lot of effort into that. That looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, you feel like your hard work is validated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did recognize several people, just because we run in similar circles. Because I do hang out with a lot of cosplayers, so I started seeing the same people over and over and over again. So, and actually 2 of the people I know won in their respective categories, so that's pretty cool. So, Jackie Brady, who actually I think we discussed when we had Billy on, because I mentioned that the friend of mine won last year, and he knew exactly what I was talking about. Jackie won last year as Rat Battle Spidey. This year he won as Rat Battle Symbiote Spidey. So now apparently next year they want him to enter in the pro category now that he's won twice. Like, you need to move up. He's like, but I didn't. It's like, I didn't make any of this. So like, doesn't matter. You've won. You go in the pro category. He's like, it's all good. It's all good. So, but
you leveled up, dude.
Yeah, he did level up. So this time Jackie, he was ready to actually, his whole thing being Rap Battle Spidey is rapping. That's his kind of shtick with his particular cosplay. He's all up for, if anyone wants to rap battle him, he's ready for it. He's got his beats ready. He's got his rhymes in his head, that sort of thing. So this year, when he got up there, he managed to convince them to give him a microphone so that he could drop some lines on us in the audience. I actually got video of it, so I need to cut that down and send it to him. He's like, because I talked to him afterwards, it's like, I don't even know what I said in my rap. It's like, it just came out of my mouth. I will send you the video, dude.
So in the moment.
Yeah, he was in the moment. So, but I think that helped with his win. So, and then Lisa, Lisa, I think her name was Lisa, Lady Dragon cosplay, who has the, if you look at the pictures, the Maleficent Harley Quinn mashup. She won for villain in the professional category. So, and actually the judge, one of the judges decided to announce the winners, and the guy was emceeing got to beat the trophy girl and hand out the trophies.
Nice.
He actually said that it was the mashup that pushed her into winning for her category, because he said he's actually really sick of seeing Harley Quinns at this point, but the mashup was so unique and so original that it was, it's really well made too. Yeah, that it was like, well, she needs to win. And the guy that won for pro in the pro category in the hero for heroes did a Falcon, and his wings actually open up. He's got built in like a mechanism so that he can like pull a thing and the wings will open up. And these wings are like heavy like plexiglass or something, and like the metal frame there. It's awesome. It's very cool. It's a very cool effect. So you can tell he put a lot of, and the gal that won in the amateur category for villains, I don't know who Typhoid Mary. That means nothing to me. Sorry. I don't know what she's from, but it looked really good, and apparently the judges agreed, so she won. So that was cool. Obviously, for me being a cosplayer, watching the contests and especially seeing people I know win is always a bonus, an always exciting part for me to go to these events. And then there was the I didn't get to watch the Reggie auction, where they had the figures of Billy's dog Reggie that they gave out to some of the artists and guests to have them customized, and they auctioned them off for, in this case this year it was FAR, which is a autism charity for children. So I actually ran into Tony Troxel from Indiana Geeking. We ended up talking. I ended up talking to him and his girlfriend for like 20 minutes. So I missed catching the Reggie auction, but I went back to the room afterwards as they were finishing up, and I guess they raised almost $1,600.
Wow.
For their chosen charity this year. So that's pretty good.
Very cool.
They were able to, and the gal from the charity was there, and Billy was all like, is that the total? Is that the total? We confirmed that that's the total? Yep. Okay, go write her a check. Make sure she gets it before she leaves. So, I mean, it was auction, add everything up, good, write the check, and the charity got to take it same day. So
nice.
that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I did was the last panel of the day, and it was actually some folks from the Indiana Cosplay Association, which obviously is a local Indiana-based cosplaying group. But their focus is using cosplay for the greater good, for doing things like dressing up as superheroes or whatever. For they've gone to things like camps for kids with like kidney disease. Like the first day of camp, when the kids arrive, they'll have like their superhero, the superheroes will be there to greet them, that sort of thing. They'll go to children's hospitals. They've done, fundraising events like, fundraising 5Ks and that sort of thing at PopCon. They had teamed up with Wheeler Mission, which is a local homeless shelter here in Indianapolis, to do a clothing drive. So they had a table set up at PopCon, and they got Wheeler Mission supplied the boxes, and they just had people, it's like if you have gently used clothing or even non-used clothing that you just never wore that you don't want anymore, bring it, and they will take it to Wheeler Mission. And they took, I don't know how many pieces of clothing. It was a lot. They got a lot of donations over the course of PopCon. So that was pretty cool. So their panel was, talking a little bit of cosplay and a little bit of, how you can, if you're into cosplay, but you want to take it to another level, how you could potentially use it to help out in your community and that sort of thing. So that was kind of cool. And then by then, actually, the event was over. It goes by pretty quickly, considering it's a kind of a short day for a convention. I did run into Billy on my way out, though. I'd seen him a couple times, and he was doing exactly what he said he would be doing, running around like a madman and trying to take care of things. So I was like, yeah, he's busy. I'm not going to bother him, but I figured it was the end of the event. I could, at least say hi. Yeah, so he could finally put a face to the voice that he heard when he was on our show. So I said hi to him, and he asked me how I felt about how the event went. He thought it went really, really well. He thinks that the count, the guest count, was higher than last year. Obviously, they'll have to crunch numbers before they get a final count of how many people actually came today. But really, my only complaint for the day was the food, and there really wasn't anything wrong with the food. They had 2 food trucks. One was a barbecue, and the other was Mexican, which that in itself was fine. I like both. I ended up getting a burrito from the guy, selling the Mexican food. But today it was like 95 degrees. So heavy food like that, not necessarily the best choice.
That makes me want to go take a nap.
Yeah, a little bit. So even with a lot of water, that's kind of heavy on the stomach. So I did suggest that maybe next year, maybe we could add like an ice cream truck or something. Because
that would be a good idea.
It's kind of hot in late August in Indiana. So,
ice cream, snow cones.
Yeah, something like that. And sure. Billy said that he could have done your traditional convention type catering. Your greasy pizza, your hot dogs, your nachos, that sort of thing. But he didn't want to. As he called them, the gray hot dogs. He didn't want that to be people's option for food, which is fair enough. Because I mean, at the Indiana Convention Center, unless you go outside of the convention center, that's what your choices are: is pizza and nachos and pretzels and a lot of carbs and a lot of grease. So to have a bit of variety is good, but considering how hot it was, maybe, I don't know if there's a salad food truck out there or what.
Oh, there's a food truck for everything.
Yeah.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe they could expand a little on the food truck options next year. Although if we'd had weather like we had this time last week going into the beginning of the week, it actually wouldn't have been that bad, where it was like 70 degrees. But alas, this is Indiana, and one day it can snow, and the next day it's 112. So that's just the way we roll around here. Yeah, it's the Midwest for you. It's just the way it is. So anyway, but I told Billy, that if there's once he catches his breath from this year and decides to start thinking about next year, to let us know if there's anything we can do. He said he's thinking of maybe doing something like a podcasting panel next year, so that may end up being, so if that's something that happens, I may be involved. We don't know yet, so it's an idea he's kicking around for next year, but obviously he needs to catch his breath for this year first. So, but yeah, it's not a bad way to spend a Sunday, really. I mean, for $5 to get in, I got to see some friends. I got to talk to some cool people. I got a burrito the size of my head, which was the only thing, other than paying for my admission, that's the only thing I bought, was the burrito. So I didn't buy anything else. No art, not even a pencil eraser shaped like Deadpool. Nothing. I didn't buy
What? Now,
anything.
wait. Did you actually see a pencil eraser shaped like Deadpool?
No, if I had, I probably would have bought that, actually.
Okay, so I was like, is that actually a thing?
It probably is, but no one at this event was carrying them, so.
Okay, I just had to know.
I'll put that in the commentary on my feedback for this year's show. I need a vendor who sells pencil erasers shaped like Deadpool.
Yeah,
those of us in the academic profession, sometimes we need that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, Indiana Toy and Comic Expo, $5.
Yeah, $5 is not bad.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, it's a kind of a drive for me, even being, on the south side of Indianapolis, even from here to get to Bloomington. Depending on which route I take, it takes about an hour. Thankfully, one of the routes that I can take is actually very scenic. So even though it was 5 million degrees outside, the scenery driving by was very nice, and the sky was blue with nice white puffy clouds, so it made the drive not as unbearable, I guess, for being in the car for an hour each direction. So Bloomington is a beautiful area, and the area between right before that, because Bloomington is Monroe County, right before that is Brown County. Brittany found my Deadpool eraser. Thanks, Brittany.
There we go.
Yeah.
We found it.
Yeah.
$2.25.
Sold. So for me, it's not a bad thing. So I was, because I knew how I was gonna have to get up early because of the drive and all that. I wasn't sure what I was going to cosplay. I ended up going with Carmen Sandiego just because I could get up and all I had to do was throw on the coat, the scarf, and the hat and be done with it. I didn't have to worry about doing a wig and any sort of fancy stuff. I considered wearing Jessica Jones for like a minute a couple of days ago, and I was like, no, because that means I'm going to have to get up earlier and do the wig and the makeup and the eyebrows and all that. It's like that, and it's going to be hot, and I'd be in the black and the leather and the wig and all that. It's like, no, I'm not going to. So I decided to go Carmen Sandiego because I figured 90s retro character, retro comics and toys, it kind of fit. People still got really excited when they saw me, which it's still, is extremely flattering and exciting to see people get excited. Like, oh my God, I love Carmen Sandiego. Can I have a picture, please? I'm like, sweet. But I am kicking myself a little because I didn't wear Jessica Jones, and I finally ran across someone cosplaying Kilgrave.
And it was a very nice Kilgrave.
And it was a really nice Kilgrave, too. Like, I've been doing Jessica Jones all year. I don't wear her, and I finally run across a Kilgrave.
Isn't that just how it works?
It is. Anyway, first world problems again. But
that's what your instinct the other day was telling you. It's like, this guy's gonna be there.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm glad I wasn't, because
yeah.
when I went outside and was hanging out with folks outside, it was like, yeah, it's hot. Coat off, scarf off, hat off. It's like I can easily get redressed in like 30 seconds. So
good point.
Yeah, I really need to come up with better cosplays that don't require like long sleeves and coats and pants.
Good luck.
I know.
There's so many that do, and it's like it's tough because most conventions take place in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
And it's like I think the one time FanX was in January in 2015, and that was the year I didn't go. But yeah, that was most conventions are when it's quite warm.
Yeah.
Or if it is in the wintertime, it's somewhere as warm, like Galley.
Yes, that too.
Unless it's Chicago TARDIS, in that case it's in late November in Chicago, and then it's freezing.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, when I was...
But I wasn't cosplaying then.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was at Galley in 2013 and had my Fifth Doctor cosplay, it was fun because everyone's running around going, "Oh my gosh, the Fifth Doctor!" And it's a sweater and a coat, and that coat is not light. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Although for the first little bit, you kind of get this high of, I'm dressed up as the Doctor, and people know what this is.
Yeah.
And it's like, heat? What heat? I don't care.
Yeah. And then after a couple hours, you're like, oh, I'm dying.
It's like, I care now.
Yeah.
Like, I got home from FanX last time, peeled off the costume, and like the blouse I was wearing underneath the sweater was drenched in sweat, and I'm like, didn't notice till then.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it's like. The things we do for our fandoms. People wonder why I didn't make the Sixth Doctor coat to go with my Sixth Doctor cosplay. One, I don't want to make a coat. In general, do you know how hard that would, let alone a patchwork coat? Second of all, do you know how hot that thing would be?
Oh.
No. I love my Sixth Doctor, but that's where I draw the line. No.
I suppose you could do just a one-layer jacket kind of thing and just... I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. Like,
that's why I did the patchwork top hat instead.
And the top hat is cute.
It is, with my little cat pin on the side.
With the femme doctors is you kind of have a little more freedom to be creative about what you do. So like instead of doing a coat, you did a hat, and it still works with the style. Anyway,
tangents about cosplay that should be saved for other discussions.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get wrapped up here. But if you, dear listeners, want to chime in about any convention you've been to, if you went to Indiana Toy and Comic Expo, or if you just want to drop us a line, give us your opinion on whatever, or ask us a question. I don't know. People want to talk to us, I hope. You can do so by emailing us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. And you can also go to our Facebook page, or our Twitter, or our Tumblr, or Pinterest, or any of those other... We have Instagram as well. I have to keep the list straight. But if you can't keep all those straight, like I can sometimes, you can go to our website, which is the 5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. And I just had this thought. I don't know if people know how to spell 5ish. It's 5, F-I-V-E, ish, I-S-H. So there's that. And you can find links to all of our social media stuff at the website, and also leave a comment or leave us an email. And we're also on iTunes and YouTube and Stitcher and Google Play, so you can subscribe to us as well and leave us a review on any of those medium forums things. And also, as always, we do have our Patreon supporters, and we always thank them, because without them, well, we would still do this, but we would be heard by a lot less or fewer people. So we appreciate that, as always. And if you want to become a Patreon subscriber, you can do so at our website as well. There's a link there. And also, we mentioned earlier, September is almost here, and with that comes the cooler weather, and also start thinking about the holidays and shopping. So we do have a link to Amazon on our website through our Amazon store. So if you are doing any shopping for yourself or somebody else, doesn't matter, we're not going to ask. You can go to our website and click on our Amazon store. On the sidebar, there's a thing that says click here to support us through our Amazon store, and you go there, make your purchases, and we get a small portion of that, and that also helps the podcast. So everybody wins. You get cool stuff from Amazon, and we get a little extra money to help us with our show. And I went on way too long with that.
No, you're fine. As we like to say, we're on all the social media, so we just try to...
The social medias. If it's a social media, we're probably there. Although I don't think we're on Snapchat, because I have no idea how that works.
No, I'm on Snapchat, but that's my own personal Snapchat, and I barely use it, so that doesn't mean much.
But yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube, I guess, is considered a social media. So yes, we're there.
Yeah,
and that's all we really need.
Yeah, we're good there. So, all right. So we're back into the swing of things. I think we should be good with doing shows on a semi-regular basis on our regular format.
Summer is ending, and thus everybody's going to be home.
Yeah, I mean,
and life gets back to normal.
Yeah. If anyone's interested as far as the schedule is concerned, next week will be reports from Mitch and Chrissy from their respective cons, assuming they survive. Because Mark Hamill is coming to both, so
this is true. But Peter Davison's not going to be there this time.
A little late from
that is
that.
fine.
It is home Sunday night.
It's a 3-day weekend for most of us, so that is not a problem.
I mean, we might have to record on Monday, but we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Again, it's a 3-day weekend for most of us, so
yeah,
no biggie. And then beyond that, we potentially have another guest lined up. We're still working on that. We got to discuss that off recording. Obviously, the 50th anniversary of Star Trek is coming up. We will be discussing Star Trek this month at some point. And then our shows are coming back. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back on September 20th. Once Upon a Time comes back on September 25th. So we've got those that'll pretty much round out the end of September. So that puts us well into
I need to check the schedule
fall.
Because Milo Ventimiglia, Peter Petrelli from Heroes, has this show that's starting on September 20th.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
I think it's on the same network that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on, so
it might be
on at a different time.
Well, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. don't forget
that's
it'll be on before. So, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now the 10 o'clock show, so it's the last show on before the news. Yeah, stuff is coming back, so we will have lots to talk about. And of course, there's still plenty of movies to come out before the end of the year. So, including that little Star Wars movie. So, we've got plenty to talk about, dear listeners. So, but I think
always do.
I think we've talked enough for now. I'm very tired.
So I'm just checking, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on at 8 on September 20th on CTV
For you.
Canada. And This Is Us is at 10 on CTV.
Yeah. So when we mention what time stuff is on, remember we're speaking in American terms.
Yes.
If you're outside the United States, check your local TV providers listings.
And time zones and such.
That too.
Time zone, yes, very important to keep on top of the time zones.
Yeah. That means Mitch gets to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before us.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Come on Hulu anyway, so it's all good.
All right. Okay. I need to go to bed. I'm very tired.
Okay, let's send Rachel to bed, guys.
Yes. With that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Douglas saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Helen from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And you know what? If I buy that Deadpool eraser topper, I should probably get a unicorn one to go with it. Been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.